we're at a point where there is just a dramatic crisis of exodus from the Catholic Church and from other denominations as well. At the same time, South America, I understand, has a huge, rapid growth of Catholics joining other groups that are not Catholic in a remarkable way, attesting to their religious beliefs. With this crisis, which I don't believe is the first here, I'm old enough to remember maybe 30 years ago, a guy walking around near the National Cathedral with posters about get rid of the pedophiles in the clergy. And that was a big revelation back then. And it was like, they're going to do something about it. And now 30 years later, we're talking about the crisis of faith or whatever it is. Can the church be in a position where possibly enough people say, to heck with this, that's irreparable. How can we go back and trust these people and just walk away? I mean, I'm talking about an extreme example, but in terms of what you guys have been talking about, which has been really key in the larger sense, people have turned to alternative means of getting some kind of a spiritual connection, if that's important to them, or material connections, et cetera, getting their kids in the best schools, et cetera. They can get along, they think, without God. And then we have his intermediaries that define themselves as sacred, holy. Couldn't the people just say, hey, you've gone the way of the Edsel? And en masse, something radical starting and just picking up like wildfire?
Really, I want to actually add to it and throw it to you.
I might add. You can start.
But I do want to sort of connect that. Actually, thank you for the question. I think I do want to connect that a little bit to your Siemens example, right, where you have to have a lot of very visible symbolic changes happen, right? So what does it take to rebuild trust once it's been broken? My worry with some of the framing of crisis of faith kind of language is that it, I think, can exacerbate the pressure to sweep further things under the rug and say, oh, we don't want to add, bring anything more to light because already so many people are turning away from the faith, right? So are there any sort of serious, major structural or symbolic changes that visibly need to occur in order to rebuild trust based on, what you've seen in other kinds of organizations? And then certainly, what are the risks of sort of mass exit of some sort?
I think also to answer that question, and I'm not a sociologist of religion, but I think I would need to be to answer that. We need to look carefully at who exactly is leaving. Okay, are these deeply involved, committed members who are leaving? Are these people who have been on the margins for a long time and they're looking for an excuse to finally tell themselves that, yeah, Sunday morning soccer practice really is more important than going to church? Are they people who have been sort of peripherally attached to the church because of third generation ethnic ties or something like that? I think the crisis as a rationale or sometimes rationalization for leaving probably affects a lot of different groups of people in different ways. So I'll just mention that, and I will say for something of this magnitude where the institution itself is built on a kind of moral message in a way that, say, Siemens Corporation is not, rebuilding the trust probably faces a higher bar.